Hello and welcome along to the ProjectCars2 Virtual Racing League, where today we join the PS4 group as they continue their battles in the Indycar series that they are running over there on the PS4 league. So week 1 was Willow Springs and Texas Speedway, you can see on your screen now. Week 2 is today, so Laguna Seca is first up, classic circuit, and then the second race, so race 1 Laguna Seca, second race Indianapolis Motor Speedway, also a very classic circuit. And we can expect some good racing hopefully here today. We had some good battles first time out, and I think there's already some rivalries starting to form, it has to be said, right at the top of the championship, and also all the way through the field too. So the midfield battle certainly hotting up. You see the driver lineup on your screen there. Some of those drivers weren't in attendance at the first round. I can just think now off the top of my head, Pixie wasn't there. Tyler Attenborough possibly, maybe wasn't there, so Icebreaker, I don't think he was there. Murph Law as well, he was there. He had a fantastic debut in the PS4 league, getting podium finishes. That is actually Luke McGee from the Xbox league, so he's got a PS4 and he's now leading both of the leagues along with Stuart Davis, who's also doing that. And you can see the championship standings after the first 2 races at round 1. It's joint at the top. Look, Stuart Davis and Mike Gunnin with a winner piece and a second place apiece are leading the series together there, just ahead of Murph Law at 12. He's got a 3-point advantage over Cortez. Welsh Taff on 8 points ahead of Alex Brown. Monty MC Momo, the champion from the Ginetta series we ran recently, is all the way down there, just ahead of Matt, and Monty will certainly be looking to make up some lost ground today, I would have thought. Let's have a look at the qualifying results then. So it's Alex Brown, look, and Alex Brown was he there in the first round? I can't actually remember, but anyway, he's absolutely flying in these Indy cars now, and he really does like them, and he's got a pole position to show for it now, just ahead of Stuart Davis, Luke McGee in 3rd, Mike in 4th, Cortez 5th, Pixie there, welcome return for Pixie, ahead of Welsh Taff. So let's see how they get on here today at Mazda Raceway. So it's a rolling start and they're waiting for the green flag now, and they're off, and it's Revs rise as they go over the brow of the hill here at the famous Laguna Seca Raceway. Kicking the cones out the way is Alex Brown on the inside. Stuart Davis has the outside line. He's going to try and hang it around the outside there, but Alex gets a really good traction out of that corner, out of turn 1. And Stuart's actually a little bit loose. Monty MC Momo there trying to come through. It's Mike there in... Oh, Stuart's run wide. Mike's in 3rd, but Mike might be able to get 2nd here, and he does. He takes 2nd place away from Stuart Davis. A costly error there for Stuart. And side by side goes Pixie with Welsh Taff, I think that was. And they were side by side and off the track there. And it looks like Pixie is lost out slightly to Welsh Taff, and now through on the inside as well. And... going up that's Loopy McGee. He's changed his name already, look. So Loopy McGee, so it's no longer Murph Law. And snuck that one in. And Stuart Davis now is all over the back of Mike as they go through the corkscrew. Down the hill they go. The downforce really trying to stick the cars to the circuits. And Cortez is in the background there as well. And coming round now the last few corners. And Alex has got a nice lead there of 2 seconds. Whilst Mike and Stuart battle away, Alex.
Yeah, it's, like you said, quite a nice little lead there for Alex over Mike in 2nd, as it looks like one of the cars goes wide. It might have been Cortez in the DHL IndyCar, just taking a wider line at the back there. As you see, Stuno in 3rd, chasing Mike down. Ooh, locking up, going very deep. Didn't take to the gravel, which is quite lucky, but he's definitely pushing hard, trying to make up for his early mistake.
Certainly looks like it. Look at the car moving around. I think he could be overdriving that car slightly after that early error. We've seen Stuart before when he's made an error. Sometimes he does overdrive a little bit, and Welsh Taff is overdriving too. And the thing is with these cars, Alex, is that they're so fast. You make one small mistake like that and you're under pressure. So as Welsh Taff is now from Loopy McGee's all over the back of him just from that one little mistake.
Yeah, another factor as well is they got pushed to pass. I think they've only got 9 or 10 they can use. As you see, Stu closing up, going through the corkscrew. Car will be going like this, so they have to be careful. But yeah, on the straights they can use push to pass, but there's only 10 they can use, so they have to be careful.
Yes, and Loopy McGee's got past Welsh Taff. Welsh Taff made a mistake by the looks of it, coming into the corkscrew, and he ran wide, so probably brakes a little bit too late there. It's a very tricky corner. Anyone who's into motorsport knows all about the corkscrew. Don't need me to tell you about that. And yeah, Loopy McGee benefiting there from that. It looks like he was going to get past at some point, quite possibly. It looks like he's got a lot of pace, but let's see if he can use it now to catch back to the back up to the pack there, and Cortez in the yellow DHL car, and now we're riding on board with Stewart. This is a great view, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, great view on board. The sort of like helmet cam, really. But you can see he's just back making another mistake there. Kept it going straight. That's the main thing. But he's fallen back from Mike, and it looks like Stu's pushing too hard already, and just needs to settle down a bit as we see Lupi, Cortez, and Welsh Taff now all in the line. Oh, that's Cortez going really wide enough, have it into check up quite hastily, and that's allowed Welsh Taff to close off.
Yeah, I think I think running wide there, Welsh Taff, but I think I called it wrong actually. On the opening lap, I called Cortez Monty, because Monty runs the yellow car, and Cortez was in a red one before, I'm sure of it. So, but Monty is actually not in this race, so that could be big for the championship, because we know how fast Monty is. So yeah, apologies if I got that wrong.
Yeah, he might be doing parental duties when he can't race, so that could be the reason why. Not too sure. Cortez has really messed up his braking a lot on that final corner. That's allowed Welsh Taff just to nip up the inside and take 5th place.
Yeah, so he's really pushing, I think, but sometimes overdoing it slightly. Oh, Stuart Davis is overdoing it now as well. He's drifting that Indycar, and that's not the way to go fast in these cars, is it, with the high downforce? And this has allowed Mike now to release some of that pressure. Let's see what pace Mike has got. It looks like he's not able to challenge Alex Brown. This man here in the blue car is just absolutely walking away from the field at over a second a lap at the moment. He's got a nearly 6 second lead now as Alex Brown. He's absolutely flying.
Yeah, he loves his track, and he took part in the recent Xbox GT3 Championship, so he would have had some practice. Oh, and that's Stu almost making another mistake. He needs to settle down, really, just try and concentrate, as Mike's still not too far away, only 2 seconds up the road, so just settle down and you can catch him.
Yeah, he's not under pressure from behind, because there's a nice cushion back to Luke McGee there in 4th place. So Stewart really needs to try and knuckle down, like you say here, but Mike is a serious contender for this title, and Stewart knows it, and that's probably why he's pushing so hard to get past him, because they're joint on points in the championship at the moment, aren't they? So but why is this track so, I mean, it's an old school track, it's bumpy, but why are people making so many mistakes here? Why are the drivers making so many mistakes?
No runoff, and the cars are so fast and pretty tricky to handle when on the edge, so any little mistakes just really gets amplified, and it really shows. But they still got a pit at some point, I do believe, so that could mix up the table quite a bit.
Yeah, let's not forget there's a 20-minute race, I believe, here, isn't there, with mandatory pit stops. So you don't have to take on tyres, as long as you just come in, go through the pits, that's your pit stop done. And then we've got a 10-minute race after this at Indianapolis on the oval track. So the drivers compete in both of those races on the same evening. So Stewart now pitting. But I think in the heads of the drivers right now, they're just thinking about this race and getting through this one first, aren't they, rather than thinking about the oval cars, because obviously these have got a lot more downforce than the oval cars as well, so they're a bit of a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, and Stu had to check up there, just make sure you're using the speed limit for the pits and locking up a tyre, so you might be just trying to burn those tyres out and switch tyres, because he switched tyres from the softs to the hard, but it looks like he's still on those red-walled softs, so I doubt he's changed tyres.
Yeah, it's quite surprising actually, because in the first race there was quite a bit of talk, wasn't there, about soft versus hard compound, and the drivers were a bit concerned about the soft tyres going after 6 laps, but here we are on lap 6 now out of 17, and the drivers are, well, they seem to be going alright, don't they, on the soft compounds?
Yeah, I don't think it's as abrasive this track as in the first round. You don't have such a long sweeper, and there's a few straights you can cool down. As it looks like Alex is just pitting now, probably too far for Stu to make any attacks on him, but this must be just to get out of the way, and let's see if he changes tyres as we go on board into the pit stall. Feels like it takes forever ever doing this, as still waiting. It's quite a long stop this, unless he was changing tyres. Didn't look like it, but I'll have to try and see with his pace and lap times later on. We see Cortez now pitting.
It looks like Cortez took out a few of the cones on his way into the pits there, but managed to get it slowed down in time. It's quite a fast entry into the pit lane there, so you do run the risk of getting a speeding penalty if you attack it too hard. It looked like Alex was coming in very nicely and just coasting through there, making sure he didn't take a penalty. And now he's coasting through the sand a little bit. It's a very tricky pit exit as well, it has to be said. But it looks like, if anything, he's extended his advantage slightly over Stewart there. Well, it's still around 5 seconds anyway, once they get up to speed again. But yeah, Stewart was really attacking a pit entry, wasn't he? And he knows now he's on a charge because Alex has covered him off, and now it's up to Mike to see what he does, because he's going to be the key factor now to see when Mike comes in.
Yeah, that's going to be a very big key factor for this race, especially for the podium, where Mike comes out and when he pits. Doesn't want to leave it too late, but I was thinking, do you think Stu's struggling because he doesn't have an orange car? He's in the Doom livery car.
It must be something to do with that. Whenever he goes for another colour car other than orange, something happens to him, so it must be. And oh look, Mike's in the pit now in that lovely green livery. I do like that livery, Alex, I have to say, that green colour. I mean, personally, I'd go for the red livery, but the green colour is lovely as well. Sort of a classic look to it in that Chevrolet. There's Alex Brown blasting his way through now. So Alex Brown retakes the, will be the lead, but Welsh Taft's in the lead because he hasn't pitted yet. And now this is Stuart Davis, so let's see where Stuart's ahead. Stuart is ahead of Mike, unless Mike has a fantastic pit exit here. But it looks like Stuart's got him. Stuart's jumped him in the pits, and he has. So a great outlap there from Stuart. And Mike left it a little bit too long, and it's allowed Stuart to jump him, look.
Yeah, it's a disaster for Mike, as he'll be the one chasing, but sometimes that can give you an advantage, as it's better to be chaser than chasee. So he's got plenty of laps left. There's lap 8 at the moment, so he'll have time as long as he's got the pace.
Yeah, it's quite surprising. We didn't see any mistakes at all from Mike there. And bouncing across the gravel and sand there is Welsh Taft. He gets away with it though through the corkscrew and on his way, but it's quite surprising because Mike was going quite well, and Stewart's just absolutely, gapped him completely after those pit stops. So I don't know whether he made a mistake or not, but one thing's for sure, Stewart now has got a 5-second advantage, 5 seconds over Mike, and he's got around 8 laps or so to go to the end of this race. As Mike, if he wants to try and get on the podium here, well, he will be on the podium because Welsh Taft hasn't pitted yet, but if he wants to try and beat his arch rival for the championship, by the looks of it, he's got 8 laps in which to do it and catch him back up. And with the mistakes that Stewart was making early on, who knows what can happen, but it'll be interesting to see now whether Stu can close in on Alex Brown.
I wonder if Mike's up to a new set of soft tyres. That could maybe factor in why he was so slow and lost all that time, but I said we'll have to find out.
Yeah, well, it could be. Maybe if he sets the timing screens alight now, that'll answer our questions.
He's got the he's on his outlap now, so we'll find out on this lap as we see Welsh Taft. Is that Alex behind him? Yeah, Alex is really closed up on him. I know he's not pitted, but it shows the pace Alex has got.
Absolutely, yeah. Alex has been solidly in the 110s throughout the whole of this race. Stewart is also now in the 110s. Now he's got some clear air after getting past. And running wide and doing a bit of drifting there, a bit of rallycross, really, really close to the wall. He's lucky to get away with that one. And Alex benefits from that and goes through, and he kicks a cone out of his way in celebration, and through goes Alex Brown into the lead now. So he's got a 3.5 second advantage or so over Stewart. So Stewart is closing that gap slightly, but they are doing very similar times, so it'll take something more from Stu or a mistake from Alex, I think. And Stuart's running wide now. He followed the tram lines of Welsh Taft in front off onto the grass, and you don't want to be out there, do you?
No, definitely not. It really shows just that running slightly wide, there's no... Ooh, he just hit the back of him. That's not great, and that's probably the worst thing you could do. A good thing it's only visual damage if they do have it on this. Is that's Welsh Taft wide again. He's really unsettled with the car. I wonder if he's just pushed his tyres too long.
Yeah, quite possibly. He's all over the place at the moment as Welsh Taft. And I don't think he's made his pit stop yet either, so when he pits he's going to be down there fighting with Cortez maybe, or Pixie. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out actually. 6th or 7th somewhere around that area. Is Welsh Taff going to pit now? Surely he's going to pit. Yes, he is. He might be taking on new tyres as well, if indeed his tyres have gotten off, which, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised, because he's been all over the place the last couple of laps. And the drivers, of course, they can, although it's default setups, as with all of the races on this league, they can choose between stable or loose. So perhaps he selected loose when he wanted stable. We've seen drivers do that before, haven't we, by accident?
Yeah, possibly. It could even be unstable, which usually means more understeering. The car seems to be understeering a lot more than you'd imagine a high downforce car being. There's it looks like Cortez just flashing through in the DHL car. So, yeah, he's dropped back a bit, only ahead of Pick Z now, but new tyres, it could catch him up with 6 laps to go.
Yeah, the fight is really on here, so Welsh Taff has got a few more laps left of this race, so have all of them actually. They've all got the same number of laps because no one's been lapped yet, but he needs to really crack on now and make amends for those little errors he's had. Oh, and he's off again, so that's not going to help. His tyres are all dirty, commentator's curse, but he needs to really crack on now if he can and try and close up to Cortez. But we've seen Cortez is no easy person to get past either, so even if he does get there, he's going to have a battle on his hands to try and get that 5th place today. But looking around the grid, Pick Z is a few seconds behind Welsh Taff, about 6 seconds or so. So he could benefit from Welsh Taff's errors if he carries on that way. Mike as well, he's fallen back from Stu. So Stu was 3.5 seconds behind Alex Brown, wasn't he, at one point? And now he's over 5 seconds. So it was costly for Stuart there, that little incident he had with Welsh Taff.
Yeah, really costly, but the man to watch is the man we're watching now, Loopy McGee. Thankfully changed his name back to the Xbox version, so that's a lot more helpful. He put in over a second on Mike the last 2 laps, so he could be closing in on another podium.
That's a really good point, Alex, actually. Yeah, I didn't notice. He's absolutely flying along really nicely, is Loopy McGee, and he's got 2 podiums already from his 2 outings in the PS4 league. So new to the PS4 league is Loopy McGee, and he's fancying 3 out of 3 here today, and we'll have to wait and see if he can do it or not. Mike's been very consistent, but the pace that Loopy's got could catch him before the end, quite possibly. He's 5 seconds behind, a second a lap, and we've got 5 laps left to go, so it's perfect.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they do on these laps. Mike will be flashing through the start-finish any moment now, so he's at 12.5. Let's see what Loopy's doing. That's a better time for Mike as we're on board with Stu. But yeah, look at that, Loopy 8 tenths faster again, so he's really taken it out of Mike's lap times.
Yeah, this is going to be game on, I think, towards the end of this race. At that rate, it could be really close, could get really juicy towards the end. But on board with Stu now. Why don't we have this camera view in Formula 1 in real life? This would be awesome.
I think they complain it way too much, but I think they do in Indycar. They got the new driver helmet cams. I think on Grosjean's YouTube channel you can watch what that view looks like in real life, and it's quite an interesting to see the inputs and what they have to do. As it's not just turning a steering wheel.
Yeah, and you get the proper sensation of how fast the car is and the visibility of the driver as well, don't you? Of course, from that angle, it's a little bit lower down than the roll hoop, of course. Yeah, it'd be good that would, wouldn't it, if they managed to get that in F1 as well? Because the Indycar is such a raw car as well that it just feels so quick when you watch those videos, like you were saying about Grosjean's video.
Yeah, and it's even harder for this year's Indycars as they've got the. It's not a halo, it's sort of like an aero screen they run. It's a bit different to the Formula 1 cars, and as these ones are a bit out of date now, as you can still see the driver's helmet compared to the latest ones. Yeah, and Alex Brown is not worrying about any visibility issues today, or is he? He ran a little bit wide there, but he's still got a nice 3 second or so advantage over Stewart, but Stewart is closing that gap down to 10.4 the last time round versus Alex's 11.7. Don't know if Alex's tyres have gone off or if he's just managing it to the end of the race, but at this rate Stewart is going to catch him before the end, so Alex really needs to watch what he does here. After having such a strong opening stint of this race, he has been reeled in now by Stuart Davis here, so it could be game on for first and second as well as third and fourth. Do you think he's just taken the foot off the gas a bit too early, just trying to coast to the win? Yeah, I mean, you don't want to give Stuart half a chance, do you? Because
we've seen from Mr. Lunge before, if it's the last lap and he's got half a chance, he'll go for it. So Alex really does need to watch here and make sure he maintains some sort of buffer to this man.
Oh, bit back end stepping out on Stu's car, but what we have to remember as well is Stu has older tyres than Alex, so that could factor in the last few laps. So Stu might be just pushing now, try and use as much as he can. His last lap, Stu was 2 seconds faster.
That's mental, that is, and down to 2 seconds now, 2.5 seconds between the two of them. So yeah, it really is. It could get really exciting towards the end. Loopy McGee, meanwhile, well, actually, Loopy McGee is still around 4 or 5 seconds behind Mike. So he must have made a mistake somewhere, because he's back in the 111s now, and Mike's still in the 112. So not sure what happened there, Alex. Oh, and Welsh Taff is doing a bit of rallycross again.
I think Mike realised he was getting caught and just put his foot down a bit and responded quite nicely. As you see, this is the nose, not the bumper, the nose cam of Alex Brown's car. Nothing ahead except for, looks like Welsh Taff, who's fallen behind Pixie. So I guess another mistake from Welsh Taff, and that's put him dead last.
And now that he's going to have to look out for these guys, because they're coming through soon. Oh, Stewart really sideways. Oh, and he's in the barrier. And I was just about to say, it's going to be a grandstand finish here. There's only 1 and a bit seconds between them, visibly closer. And Stu throws it away there, pushing a little bit too hard, trying to get onto the back of Alex. And you can see how hard both of them have been pushing. The last time round, they were very similar in pace, only a tenth separating them. And Stu there just overstepping the mark slightly. And he's lucky, actually. It could have been a lot worse, that one.
Yeah, he could have. It's a good thing he didn't have damage, but could have done a full 360, but luckily managed to grip the tyres up and get him back straight and use the barrier to help him a bit. But I think this is Alex is now with 2 laps left.
Yeah, certainly Alex is to lose now. And Alex, has he won a PS4 race before? I know he's won an Xbox one before.
I don't think he has won a PlayStation race. I think he's come close, as we see world's fastest cameraman looking at the side of the Chevrolet powered CSC Indycar. Really nice in that dark blue with white stripes. It's a bit different to what he usually goes. He usually goes for a darker car. Yeah,
and flamethrower coming out the back as well. And he's got a couple of back markers just up ahead. Be interested to see whether he bothers trying to get past or not. He doesn't have to risk it, he's got a few seconds back to Stu. All he needs to do is just try and coast in. When he gets to the top of the corkscrew here, he can almost just freewheel it down to the finish line from here, can't he? But Alex Brown, like you say, hasn't won before in the PS4 League, as far as we can remember. Oh, and off there goes Pixie. Pixie's off. Oh, gets very close to Cortez, and this is Alex Brown coming through. They're very good friends, Pixie and Alex Brown, and lucky that Pixie didn't take him out of the lead there. Just a couple of corners to go. But Alex Brown now, he powers out of the last corner, and Alex Brown is going to take the win here today at Laguna Seca. A fantastic drive from the Welshman, and he finishes ahead of Stuart Davis. But Stuart Davis will be, after making that late error which denied him a battle for the win, at least he's ahead of Mike, and those two are still very close in the championship. Mike coming back in third. They didn't have the pace today, but I think he'll be quite satisfied with third and a decent haul of points, and staying ahead of the Scotsman Loopy McGee, who will probably be a little bit disappointed with fourth, considering he's got a podium in his last 2 outings. Cortez is in fifth. A little bit of a lonely race for Cortez, wasn't it, in the end?
Yeah, I don't think he was quite there with the leaders, but like you said with Loopy, he'd probably be disappointed because he did have the pace, especially as looks like, I think that was Welsh Taff just going straight on. But yeah, I think it took him a bit too long to get to that pace, and he missed out on the podium.
Yeah, and Welsh Taff, I think, was just trying to write off that car in the end. I think he just had completely enough of this Indycar at Laguna Seca today, and he was like, I'm just going to go straight into the barrier. But he does finish ahead of Pixie in 7th there, so Pixie, not his favourite track and car combo, but he did do a 12.9 lap time, which is pretty handy. But yeah, confirmation, Alex Brown finishing ahead of Stuart Davis there, so a great race for Alex, and hopefully he can build on this now for the rest of the championship, and he'll be in a good position in the midfield then.
Yeah, and there's the current points table. We've got Stu now in the lead with 26. from Mike 24, so extremely close there, and then Luke McGee in third, but being caught by Alex Brown now in 14. Cortez only 1 point behind, and Welsh Taff 2 points back again, so it's really close from midfield.
Yeah, we love a good close midfield battle, don't we? As much as we love a a battle for the title.
Yeah, certainly, and we now head into the world famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the oval round. Well, it's not really an oval; it's sort of a rectangle, Indianapolis, isn't it?
It is actually, isn't it? But I don't know, is it 2 corners or 4 corners? Probably 4, I don't know. But anyway, in qualifying, Stuart Davis reclaims pole position by near closest of margin, 0.081 seconds. That's faster than you can blink an eye. Ahead of championship rival Mike there in second. Alex Brown, recent race winner, in third. Cortez starts fourth, ahead of Welsh Taff in fifth. Pixie is up there in sixth, good pace for Pixie, ahead of Luke McGee. Luke McGee's got some battling to do, looks like today. We'll have a nice slipstream here at the Oval, and Matt rounding out the order, and on the rolling start now, and the green flag waves, and they're off, and it's a nice start from all of them. I think they all get a clean getaway, going down into the first corner now, getting up to speed, of course, still, and it's Stuart Davis who's got the inside, but now he switches to the outside, and Alex Brown is up there in second now, and he's got a nice slipstream, as Welsh Taff slots into third, ahead of Pixie in fourth. Cortez and Mike, Matt and Loopy McGee's down there in eighth at the moment. And it looks like Alex has got a really good run here on Stuart Davis as they come around the back straight now. Alex is trying to go up high. Is he going to try and brave it all the way around the outside? He gets very close to the barrier and he just about gets away with it by the looks of it, but has that disadvantage in straight line speed. And it looks like there might have been an incident. There has been an incident. It's Loopy McGee, the Scotsman, has been spinning and he's had a little impact with somebody or the wall or both, and Matt as well, but the looks of it's been involved. And we'll have to see, maybe we'll get a replay of that. Not quite sure what happened there. But and Alex hitting the barrier now. That's allowed Mike up into second. So we've got first and second of the championship, first and second on the road here now. And Alex Brown there in third place, and he's dropped a little bit of time now. It's a couple of seconds back. He'll probably still get the slipstream from there though, and Mike's got a good chance now getting in the slipstream of Stuart, and we saw Mike defeat Stuart in the last oval race we had, didn't we? And Welsh Taff now all over the back of Alex Brown. Yeah,
it's really close, and I think Alex Brown will just be happy he's got the right car for this oval. They had the wrong one last one at Texas Speedway, so it's shows what he could have been. He's up in third, but he's been properly hustled by Welsh Taff. He's taken that higher line, which is not really the usual route. He seems to prefer it though, as he takes it high again, cuts down low, back onto the low line, but that allowed Alex just pull away slightly. But 2 leaders here, looks like a couple of laps Mike should catch him if he keeps in the slipstream, just because of the speed difference. There's huge speeds around here, up to 240 miles an hour.
Yes, at the world famous Brickyards, it's seen some of the most famous and classic races on the oval circuit scene, and Mike now is trying to get past his nemesis Stuart Davis. He's all over the back of him, but of course once he goes through, Stuart will then have the slipstream, and he's going to go down low there. Stuart chops him off. And Mike's in the barrier then. He's lost a lot of momentum now, and Stuart will be looking in his mirrors and seeing Mike going backwards in them pretty much. And Alex Brown now is coming back at him. He's only a second and a half behind Mike, and you see how costly that was for Mike there. And I was thinking Alex Brown didn't feature much in the last one. That's why I questioned earlier whether he was even racing, but it was because he had the wrong car, of course, and he was limited to only 200 miles an hour instead of 240.
You say only 200 miles an hour like it's nothing. But yeah, that was, if Stu cut the front of Mike's car there, that was a bit naughty. Usually it's a bit of an unwritten law where you sort of stick to your lane and not cut off because of the speeds they go at. But it looks like Welsh Taff's coming back at Alex now in third, and are they catching Mike up? It certainly seems like it.
Yeah, Mike still, once you get in the barrier like that, it can cost you a lot of time, so even on the next lap, because you're still getting up the speed, and side by side now Cortez with Pixie. Pixie's got the high line, and Cortez goes down low, and Pixie's going to try and chop back down now, and try and get the slipstream of the momentum to try and fight back Cortez. And it looks like Cortez, though, has got that position now, up in fifth there. But, yeah, I think quite possibly Alex is he is definitely catching, because look, you can see the gap visibly for yourself now. Alex Brown is all over the back of Mike, so that chop by Stuart Davis certainly did cost him quite a bit, and I'd be surprised if that isn't investigated, actually, that one.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we do get any notes come up, see that it was investigated. But what could be interesting now is it looks like Welsh Taff from the time board's falling back, but you can see just the slipstream and Pixie going very high, keeps out of the barrier just as close as you want to be. But will Mike and Alex, a bit of a wiggle on there, but go back to what I was saying, Alex and Mike, will they work together with the slipstreams, just going one takes over from the other and just try and catch Stu back up?
Yeah, that would be the sensible thing to do at this stage of the race, of course, because we're not even halfway, really, yet, approaching halfway soon. And like you say, Alex, if they do work together, they have got a great chance of catching back up. What's the sort of lap time improvement you can get here by working together in the slipstream over somebody who hasn't got a slipstream, would you say?
You'd have to imagine it's quite a bit. Certainly noticeable if you do it extremely efficiently on the straights. Say someone overtakes in the corners, then they drag you along, and then the other person, they get a run, go around you, overtake, and then just do that constantly until you catch up again. And it looks like Alex is closing in, so he won't be quite able to do any of that just yet, but a couple of laps he might be able to.
Yeah, we'll have to watch that timing screen really closely. So just think of it now as 2.5 seconds. These two are behind Stuart Davis on lap 8, and we'll have a little look in a few laps' time and see if that's come down at all or not. But anyway, Welsh Taff back from that. He's not in this slipstream battle quite, is he, Welsh Taff, down there in 4th? They're approaching a red car. Who is this? Is this Matt? I think it might be Matt. So they'll get the slipstream off Matt here. That would be quite interesting. That could help him along a little bit.
Yeah, I'll certainly help him along. I'll certainly help Mike be pulled along, and in turn that'll pull Alex as well. So basically Alex will essentially be getting a double tow, really. But he's pulled back a bit. Mike certainly has speed, and that's going to be risky if Mike looks around the outside there. And it looks like he was, but he'll probably wait for this one. But from Alex's engine there, it sounds like he really lifted off the throttle there, and he's lost about a second.
It's quite interesting because we don't expect the drivers to lift off at all, do we, on this oval here? As long as they get their line right, then it should just be flat, shouldn't you, Alex, around here?
I think slight lifts, because with the 4 corners they can be a bit tight, and Matt certainly tight to the wall there. I think as close as you can get it. But they'll be using...
Go, actually?
That's a good point. I'm not sure unless he spun out or could just go out the way. It didn't say, but he's losing times on the board, so he may have disconnected, because usually that's a sign when the times are going up that fast.
Yeah, he completely disappeared. We saw him on the left of the screen, and then he was disappeared, and he's not even in the long shot there. So yeah, anyway, so it's down to under 2 seconds now on lap 11. So after 3 laps, they've closed in by around what was that? 7/10, 8/10 of a second, something like that. So they are closing in.
Yeah, but the lap time of Mike was only, well, pretty much a couple of tenths off Stu. But then if you look at Alex's, Alex was 6 tenths faster, so that shows what the slipstream can do for you.
Yeah, and Alex Brown was the fastest person on track the last time round as well. So he's got some serious pace as Alex, and of course he has got that slipstream as well helping him along of Mike there. So these two could be engaged in battle soon, but you can see there's Stuart Davis, look, and they are really visibly closing him in now, and that gap's come down to just 1 second, and in a second it could be going under a second. And Stuart Davis is trying his best here to stay ahead, but of course with no slipstream help now. He's gone past a couple of lapped cars and he's got no slipstream help at all, and Mike Gunnan can see his rival here possibly limping towards the end of this race without any slipstream help. And now it's under a second, look, Alex, and 1.4 back to Alex too, so this could be a 3-way fight to the finish here.
Yeah, we hopefully it will be, as Mike will be getting not the full effect, but just getting the trickles of the slipstream, and that'll go back towards Alex as well. So as long as Alex doesn't try to stop battling Mike, this could, like you said, could be a three-way fight, but there's not long left. There's only 2 minutes left on the counter.
Yes, rapidly running out of time. It would be nice if there was another minute or two, to be honest, of this race, because it's really just heating up here at the front. And Mike and Alex are really close now to Stuart, and yeah, Stuart's just running a little bit wide, and Mike riding on board with him now. He's really with Stuart here. He's right in the slipstream, and a couple of laps left to go here, you'd have to imagine. So it's game on here. Mike could get past Alex as well. You have to watch out for him, because he could get the double slipstream here and pass them both. Who's your money on here, Alex?
With the slipstream, Mike, but I don't know if it's the camera angle, but the back end of Stu's car looks very loose.
Yeah, it is a little bit, to have to be honest. It could be a little bit lagging or something. Look at this, he's got a great run now. Stuart Davis goes defensive on the inside. And Mike's going to try and go up wide. Is he going to try and go right around the outside? He is, and he's got him. Yes, he's got him. And I don't know if Stuart just backed off slightly there to try and get in the slipstream, because, of course, you don't really want to be leading with on the last lap, do you? But Alex Brown is really close too, just a second behind. And Loopy McGee there we're looking at now. He's in 6th place at the moment. He's not going to catch Cortez, I don't think. But here we go then. So last lap or so we're on now, and Mike is in the lead, and you can see the extremely fast cameraman now. He's running alongside. He's really got his work cut out as this cameraman on this oval with these top speeds. And Stuart Davis is ever so slightly closing in that slipstream. You can see Alex in the background as well, hunting for that slipstream effect. And they're going around the corner now. This could be the last lap, Alex, I think, here, quite possibly. And Mike now coming round quite possibly the last corner, but Stuart's not close enough, I don't think, to make a manoeuvre. So is Mike going to win? I think Mike is going to win. And Mike wins in Indianapolis, the Brickyard. Fantastic win for Mike there. Great driving, just ahead of Stuart. And same thing happened in the last oval race, pretty much, with Mike hunting down Stuart towards the end and Alex Brown an excellent third.
Yeah, it seems like Mike's really got his stuff sorted when it comes to the ovals. You see Welsh Draft cross line in front, just ahead of Cortez. With Loopy down in 6th. That's great win from Mike. He timed that perfectly. You'd think he would have been a bit early, but no, he just judged it to perfection and got the win.
Yeah, I thought that as well, Alex. I thought you might have gone a little bit too early there, but like you say, he's really got the ovals nailed by the looks of it. So some really nice points there for Mike and Stuart, of course, and Alex Brown. Welsh Taff there as well. He's in a good battle in the midfield too, so finishing 4th. Cortez, nice solid consistent driving from Cortez once again. Loopy McGee down there in 6th. He might be a little bit disappointed with that one, but he was in a tangle, I think, wasn't he, at the start of that race, so that's probably why he was down there and not really featuring much. Pixie in 7th ahead of his arch rival Matt there in 8th. So yeah, pretty good race there, especially for the lead, and confirmation of the standings. So after that, it's all square again. They were on 18 points apiece before this evening's racing, and now they're on 34 points apiece, with only 1 week left to go. Let's not forget, so 2 races left in this one.
Yeah, it's all to play for, especially for leads, and also for 3rd and 4th place with Loopy and Alex even. But you could say that about the whole table is Cortez and Welsh Taff, put a point between them. Pixie and Monty, who didn't feature these 2 rounds, so both on 4 points, and then Matt down there with 2 points.
Absolutely, some key battles left to be resolved here as we head into the final couple of races. So yeah, join us next time and we'll find out who will be crowned the winner of the Indycar PS4 League.